The air in the restaurant was thick with the scent of garlic and regret. It was a Thursday evening at La Trattoria, the little Italian place on Elm Street where Anna Grayson and her husband, DVYD, had celebrated anniversaries, birthdays, and quiet VY Tories for nearly 22 years. The soft clink of wine glasses and the murmur of other diners pro VY did a fragile backdrop to the moment that would unravel her life. DVYD sat across from her, his broad shoulders hunched slightly, his eyes fixed on the amber glow of his whiskey glass. He hadn't touched his fettuccine Alfredo, and Anna hadn't touched hers either. She'd been waiting for him to say anything since he'd texted her that morning. "We need to talk tonight. Important." She'd assumed it was about his latest case at the law firm, maybe a promotion or a tough client. She'd even worn the emerald green dress he loved, the one that hugged her curves just right, hoping to lift his spirits. "I need space, Anna," he said finally, his voice low and deliberate, like he'd rehearsed it in front of a mirror. The words landed between them like a guillotine, sharp and final. She blinked, her fork hovering over her plate. "Space," she repeated, her tone steady despite the sudden tightness in her chest. "What does that mean to VYD?" He shifted in his seat, still avoiding her gaze. "It's not working anymore. I've been thinking about this for a while. I want a divorce." 22 years of marriage, 2 decades of shared mornings, late-night talks, and quiet compromises dissolved in 3 sentences. Anna stared at him, waiting for more, for some explanation that might soften the blow. But DVYD just traced the rim of his glass with his thumb, as if the condensation held the answers he couldn't give her. "Is there someone else?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. His hesitation was a confession. "It's complicated," he muttered. "Her name's Lauren. My paralegal. It wasn't planned, Anna. It just happened. Just happened. As if infidelity were a weather event, an act of God beyond his control." Anna set her fork down carefully, her hands trembling slightly. 22 years to VYD. And you're throwing it away for something that just happened? "I'm not throwing anything away," he snapped, finally meeting her eyes. There was a flicker of defensiveness there, but no remorse. "I've changed. You've changed. We're not the same people we were when we got married." She wanted to scream, to upend the table and let the plates shatter on the hardwood floor. Instead, she folded her napkin, placed it beside her untouched meal, and stood. "Congratulations on your fresh start," she said, her voice cold and precise. "I hope it's everything you dreamed of." She walked out of La Trattoria, the bell above the door jingling mockingly behind her, and didn't look back. That night, alone in their sprawling suburban home, Anna sat on the edge of their king-sized bed, his side still faintly scented with his cologne, and let the tears come. She didn't sob or wail. They were quiet, steady tears, the kind that carved rivers through years of suppressed doubts. She'd known something was off for months. The late nights at the office, the new wardrobe, the way he'd pull away when she reached for him. But she'd chalked it up to stress, to the demands of his new role as a senior partner at Grayson Va Pierce. She'd been too busy holding their life together, planning dinners with clients, managing their daughter Emily's college applications, keeping the house pristinito. See the truth. The truth had a name, Lauren. A paralegal half her age, with sharp cheekbones and a laugh that probably rang through the office like a bell. Anna didn't need to meet her to know the type. She'd seen women like Lauren orbit WYD's world for years, ambitious, polished, eager to climb the ladder he'd already scaled. She'd never worried, though. She'd trusted him. 22 years should have meant something. The next morning, Anna found a text from WYD. "I'm staying at the apartment downtown. Lawyer will send papers soon. Let's keep this CIVYL. CIVYL. As if dismantling a life could be tidy and polite. She didn't respond. Instead, she poured herself a coffee, black and bitter, and stared out the kitchen window at the maple tree they'd planted when Emily was born. Its leaves were turning gold now, a quiet rebellion against the fading summer. She wondered when their marriage had started to fade, too. The unraveling had begun earlier than she'd realized, though she couldn't pinpoint the exact moment. Maybe it was 3 months ago when she'd sat in Dr. Elena Torres's office, a sterile room with pale blue walls and a poster that read "Strength is in the struggle." The diagnosis had come like a thunderclap. Stage 2 breast cancer. We caught it earlier, Torres had said, her voice calm but firm. Surgery, radiation, maybe chemo depending on the margins. Your odds are good, Anna. Good odds. At 49, Anna had nodded, asked the right questions, scheduled the mastectomy, all while feeling like she was floating outside her own body. She'd planned to tell Devoid that night, to lean on him the way she had through every other storm. But he'd come home late, distracted, muttering about a deposition, and she'd swallowed the news instead. Now, sitting in the kitchen with his divorce papers looming, she realized he'd never given her the chance to share it. He'd been too busy plotting his escape. The papers arrived a week later, delivered by a courier who avoided her eyes. Anna opened the manila envelope and spread the contents across the dining room tablia. Cold, legal autopsy of their life together. The house, to be sold, proceeds split. Retirement accounts, DVY dead evenly. Personal items, cataloged like inventory, down to the pearl necklace he'd given her for their 10th anniversary, now assigned a dollar value. She stared at the final page, her signature the only thing standing between her and the end of Anna Grayson, wife of Dvyd. She should have called a lawyer, fought for more, but she didn't. Not yet. Something told her to wait. She called her sister Rachel instead. He's levying me for his paralegal, Anna said, her voice flat. Papers came today. Rachel's gasp crackled through the line. That bastard. After everything you've done for him? You should hire the meanest lawyer in Boston and bleed him dry. I don't have the energy to fight right now, Anna replied. There's something else too. I have breast cancer. Stage 2. Surgeries next week. The silence on the other end stretched too long. Anna, why didn't you tell me? Rachel's voice broke. And Dvyd doesn't know? No. He picked a hell of a time to need space. Rachel arrived the next day. A whirlwind of fury and practicality. She cooked meals, drove Anna to appointments, and cursed Dvyd's name with a Kryati that almost made Anna laugh. Almost. The mastectomy went smoothly, the surgeon optimistic about clean margins, but recovery was a quiet hell. Anna spent days in bed, staring at the ceiling, her body aching, her mind replaying Dvyd's words. It just happened. She wondered how long it had been happening. How many nights she'd slept alone while he built a new life with Lauren. Clues emerged slowly, like puzzle pieces she hadn't wanted to assemble. A credit card statement showed dinners at places too romantic for business loose, the Ivy room charges for a jewelry store she'd never heard of, a gym membership he'd never mentioned. Then one evening, sorting laundry she hadn't touched since he left, she found a shirt with a faint smudge of coral lipstick on the collar. Not her shade. She'd stood there, holding it, feeling the weight of her naivety. She'd been a fool, but she wouldn't be anymore. A month after the surgery, still weak from radiation, Anna got a call from her father-in-law, Henry Grayson. At 84, Henry was a retired judge, sharp as ever, with a dry wit and a soft spot for Anna. They'd always been closer in some ways, than Henry was with Dvyd. When Anna's parents died in a car accident during her college years, Henry had stepped in, offering guidance and a gruff kind of love. Their weekly brunches at the corner bistro were a ritual she'd clung to even as Dvyd drifted away. I heard about the divorce, Henry said, his voice gravelly over the phone. Dvyd called me yesterday, spinning some story about irreconcilable differences. Sounded like rehearsed bullshit. Anna managed a small laugh. That's one way to put it. Did he mention Lauren? A pause. He didn't have to. I've seen her hanging around his office when I stop by. Too much perfume, not enough subtlety. You okay, kid? I will be, she said. Can we still do brunch tomorrow? I could use the company. Wouldn't miss it, Henry replied. See you at 10. The corner bistro smelled of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls, a comforting contrast to the sterile hospital rooms Anna had grown used to. Henry sat across from her, his silver hair catching the morning light, his hand steady as he buttered his toast. Dvyd got his ambition from his mother, he said abruptly. She'd have approved of this mess, climbing over everyone to get what he wants. I hoped you'd temper that in him. I think I enabled it, Anna admitted, stirring her tea. I kept everything running so he could shine. Henry reached across the table, his hand warm over hers. I need to tell you something, Anna. After Ellen died 8 years ago, I rewrote my will. WYD's my only kid, set to inherit the firm shares, the Cape Cod house, the whole estate. But I added a clause. She frowned. What kind of clause? A moral one, he said, his eyes locking with hers. If he ever divorced you without proof you'd cheated, and I mean hard iwadenke, not some vague excuse to lose everything, the estate goes to my veterans charity instead. Anna's breath caught. Why would you do that? Because I saw how he treated you, Henry said fiercely. Even back then he took you for granted. And I'd watched too many friends ditch good women like you once they'd served their purpose. I wanted him to think twice. Does he know? Henry snorted. Never read the damn thing. Too busy chasing his corner office. I figured you should know now, though. Might come in handy. The revelation shifted something in Anna. She walked home through the crisp October air, her scarf tight against the chill, and felt a spark ignite beneath her exhaustion. WYD thought he'd won new love, new life, clean break. He had no idea his father had laid a trap years ago, one she now held the key to. Recovery brought clarity. Radiation drained her, but each session fueled a quiet resolve. She reconnected with old friends Lydia from her college days, who brought wine and wicked humor. Mark, a neighbor who'd always seen through WYD's charm. She hired a financial planner, a no-nonsense woman named Carla, who helped her secure her own accounts. And she kept her diagnosis from WYD, a secret she wielded like a shield. Then came the Instagram post that turned her spark into a flame. Lauren at Song Lauren K. Escat tagged WYD in a photo at the Oyster House, a swanky spot on the waterfront. Her left hand gleamed with a diamond ring, the caption smug. He asked, I said yes. The new chapter then engaged. The comments were a flood of congratulations, including from people Anna had hosted in her own home, clients, colleagues, supposed friends. The divorce had been final for 6 weeks. 6 weeks and he'd already proposed. She scrolled further, her stomach twisting. Photos of office team dinners, where WYD and Lauren stood too close, their smiles too intimate. A weekend trip to Newport posted months ago, when he told Anna he was at a conference. And then the gut punch. A shot of Sandpiper Cottage, Henry's beach house on Cape Cod, captioned planning our engagement party here. The beach vibes, the forever starts now. The same cottage where WYD had proposed to Anna 23 years ago, under a sky streaked with stars. The place she'd tended every summer, planting lavender along the walk, refinishing the porch swing with Henry. Now it was Lauren's backdrop, stripped of its history. Anna set her phone down and walked to the window, the suburban street blurring through unshed tears. WYD didn't just want a new life, he wanted to erase hers. But he didn't know about the clause. He didn't know she could ruin him. The engagement party was 2 weeks away. Anna spent those days preparing, not with anger but with precision. She finished radiation, her oncologist beaming. You're a fighter, Anna. Remission looks likely. Rachel helped her pick a dress, charcoal gray, sleek and commanding, paired with boots that clicked with purpose. Carla confirmed her finances were solid, independent of WYD's. And Henry sent her a notarized copy of the will, its moral clause highlighted in stark black ink. A new ally emerged, Judith Klein, Anna's old boss from her days as a paralegal, before she'd left the workforce to support WYD's career. At 72, Judith was a legend, tough, brilliant and unapologetic. Over coffee at a downtown cafe, Anna spilled everything. The divorce, the cancer, the clause, the party. Judith's eyes gleamed. You've got him by the balls, kid. But you need this airtight witnesses documentation. Maximum impact. Judith called in a favor with an estate lawyer, who verified the clause's legality. Ironclad, he said. Unless he can prove you cheated, he's out. Anna nodded, her plan solidifying. She wouldn't just show up, detonate. The day before the party, Anna drove to Cape Cod alone, the 3-hour trip a meditation. The coastal road unfurled memories. Their honeymoon at Sandpiper, Emily's first swim in the Atlantic, Henry teaching her to shuck oysters. She pulled into a gas station near the cottage, catching a glimpse of its weathered shingles through the pines. Music drifted faintly, jazz, probably Lauren's choice. Anna checked into a nearby inn, her room overlooking the bay, and rehearsed her lines one last time. Saturday dawned crisp and clear. Anna dressed slowly, the charcoal gray fabric cool against her skin. She tucked the envelope into her purse, its weight a promise. At 4:30 p.m., she drove to Sandpiper Cottage, parking among BMWs and Autista VYD's crowd. The lawn was strung with fairy lights, a marquee tent glowing white against the dusk. Guests milled in tailored suits and silk dresses, champagne flutes glinting. A photographer snapped candids by the water. No one noticed her at first. She stepped onto the grass, heels sinking slightly, and scanned the crowd. The VYD stood near the tent, laughing with his managing partner, Tom Pierce. Lauren clung to his arm, her blonde hair swept into an elegant updo, her ring catching the light. Anna moved forward, a shadow among the revelry. Lauren saw her first, her smile freezing. She whispered to the VYD, who turned, his jaw tightening. "Anna," he said, loud enough to draw eyes. "What are you doing here?" "The VYD," she replied, her voice smooth as glass. "Lauren. Congratulations." She pulled the envelope from her purse and held it out. "I brought you a gift." He didn't take it. "This isn't the time," he said, stepping closer, his tone low and warning. "Oh, it's the perfect time," Anna said. She opened the envelope, revealing the will. "Your father's estate plan. Did you know about the moral clause? If you divorce me without proof I cheated, you lose everything Sandpiper, the firm shares, the trust. All of it." Lauren snatched the paper, her eyes darting over the text. "This is fake," she spat. "It can't be real." "It's notarized," Anna said. "Henry added it years ago. Ask him yourself. Will be here tomorrow with the official notice." The VYD's face drained of color. "Dad wouldn't do this." "He did," Anna said. "Because he knew you better than I did." The crowd hushed, guests pressing closer. Tom Pierce stepped forward, his voice sharp. "Mitchell, what's she talking about? The firm shares." "It's a mistake," the VYD stammered. "I'll fix it." Lauren rounded on him, her voice rising. "You said this was handled. You said we were set." She hurled the paper at his chest and stormed off, her heels clicking furiously. A ripple of gasps followed. Anna turned to leave, her mission complete. The VYD called after her. "Anna, wait," but she kept walking, the ocean breeze cool against her face. She drove back to the inn, the adrenaline fading into a strange calm. She'd expected VY Tori to taste sweeter, but it was bittersweet, tinged with loss. The next morning Henry called. "Hell of a show, kid." The VYD's a mess. Lauren's gone, firm circling. "I'm at Sandpiper now." "Where are you?" "Heading home," she said. "You okay?" "Better than him," Henry chuckled. "Call me later." The VYD tried to reach her, too, leaving voicemail she ignored. A week later he showed up at her new apartment, a modest place she'd rented in Cambridge. He looked thinner, unshaven, his tie askew. "Lauren's done with me," he said. "The firm's pushing me out. Can we talk?" She let him in, curious. "What's left to say?" "I didn't know about the cancer," he said, his voice breaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried," she said. "You were too busy vying." He sank onto her couch, head in his hands. "I've lost everything, Anna. I'm sorry." She studied him, this man she'd loved so fiercely, and felt a pang of pity but no regret. "I'm not," she said. "I'm in remission. I've got a job offer, a new name, Anna Harper again. I'm starting over. You should too." He left quietly, the door clicking shut behind him. Spring brought the job with Judith's firm, a chance to use her skills for something meaningful. Sandpiper sold that summer, Henry sending her a box of keepsakes photo albums, her mother's old recipe cards. She drove to the Cape one last time, meeting the VYD by chance on the beach. He looked smaller, humbled, working at a tiny firm in Pro VY Denke. "I don't hate you anymore," she told him as they watched the waves. "I'm glad it ended." He nodded, a ghost of a smile on his lips. "Me too, in a way." She walked away, the sand cool beneath her feet, carrying her past and her future in equal measure.